welcome back. I'm recording on Friday again. I don't know, it's kind of a catch-22, maybe is the right word, where it's like Friday's the day that I feel the best. So I'm like motivated to like do stuff. And one of those things that I can do is record a video. But I mean, I should be trying to record more when I'm sadder, but then I'm like sad and I don't want to do anything, so I don't want to record a video. So now that I say that out loud, maybe next week, the day that I feel the saddest, I will record a video and see what comes out of my mouth. So, yeah, I got a lot of views on the last video I did. The most I ever got, it's nothing, but I don't know. It happens randomly where like YouTube will show my video to people. I think it's because I did my thumbnail was one of these to the camera. Well, I don't know. YouTube is like, I like your thumbnail, I'm gonna show it to people. But you gotta make a face like, what if I do this thumbnail? That's my thumbnail. There you go. 1 billion views. You got the most viewed YouTube video in the history of YouTube. I'm just making faces. But yeah, I got like 10 comments from people, and it makes me happy because sometimes it's kind of scary for your video to go out to a lot of people because you could get terrible people, and I think now that I'm a little bit older, I could handle it. Like if someone was like, I mean, these people exist where they could just be like, why are you so sad? Like, stop complaining. Like about your life is fine. Even something like that would like hurt my feelings. So, and I've never gotten a comment like that in the history of my whole life. So, it makes me feel a little bit better about humanity that people are like, I'm like, thanks for your video and it made me feel better and I hope you're okay. It does mean a lot to me for that to happen. So thanks for the people that watched, and I hope it helps. I don't know. I hope it doesn't make anybody feel worse. If anybody watches this and then they feel worse at the end, let me know and I will say, I'm sorry. I'll do something different next time. Because that is not that point. But nobody ever comments that. But maybe they don't want to make me feel bad. So I don't know. Yeah, I didn't do much this week. The past like 2 months, I haven't really done anything. It was the Super Bowl. I mentioned that, and I thought maybe I would talk about some of that stuff like in therapy. But when I think about it, I'm like, it's kind of just a waste of time. Like to just be like, it was the Super Bowl and I'm sad, or it's Valentine's Day and I'm sad, or it's my birthday and I'm sad because I'm alone. Okay, so what are we gonna do about it? And you do, I mean, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you just need to be like, I'm sad, and tell somebody, but it's kind of what I do here. I don't know, yeah, but sometimes I leave and I'm like, I wanted to tell somebody that, so I don't know, I'll do it here. February is a very hard month. And I always forget about the Super Bowl, but I'm like, it is sad to be alone on the Super Bowl. You go into work on Monday and everybody's like, my Super Bowl party and my nachos and my grandma knocked over the guacamole, and I don't know, they're just talking about their stories or whatever. I'm like, I watched it by myself, so. And then there's Valentine's Day tomorrow, that'll be hard. I'm gonna go run tomorrow. I'm gonna run 13 miles. That's what I do when I don't want to think about being alone, I guess. I gotta practice. I'm working up to my marathon. I still haven't picked one yet. I don't really know where to do the marathon, but I should be ready by May. So, and my birthday is February 24th, and I'll be alone on that day. I don't have any plans to do anything. I mean, there's always something to remind you that you're alone if you look for it. Every day, every month. Not just, my birthday, but those are the big things. Valentine's Day or whatever. But so, yeah, therapy this week went well. I did the video last week, and And I was like, therapy was not great, and I don't want to talk about anhedonia anymore. And the therapist picked up on that, and she was kind of like, it was good. I didn't even say anything. This week she was just like, she didn't really say this, but she was kind of just like, well, I don't think what we're doing is working. Let's try something else. So I was like, yeah, that's good. Good job, therapist. Because I don't know, I probably would have said something like that. Like, I don't really want to do what we're doing. And then if she's a bad therapist, she would be like, well, you have depression, and that's your depression talking. Your depression doesn't want you to do the therapy because it wants you to be depressed. I feel like I've had therapists who are like that, but she was like, if it's not working, let's do something else. This is gonna sound bad to say, but it's like, if I was like a normal person coming into depression, like I had a normal life, and then it was like, oh, I moved away from home, and oh, my grandparents died, and my girlfriend broke up with me, and that's why you're depressed. So it's like, okay, let's work on the depression. But it's like, what it really feels like right now is like old stuff resurfacing, like not just all the grief and sadness from the past year. That was maybe like the trigger for the depression, but curing that depression is only going to leave me back to where I was 5 years ago in this isolation state, really. That's what it feels like. I don't know if it makes sense. So it's like, oh, if I went to therapy and I was like normal, and then I'm just depressed right now because of these recent things, then it's like, okay, let's do the anhedonia therapy and try to get you to do stuff you like, and then that will work. But it just seems like I need something different. So we're trying IFS, internal family systems, something like that. I've never actually mentioned it here, I don't think, but I talked about it a lot with my last therapist, and I didn't even mention it to this therapist, and she's like, let's try this. So I assume that it's something that works for people like me who have a problem with like identity, and they don't like who they are. And when you start to say stuff like that, it triggers the therapist to be like, let's try IFS. And also, it's probably like relation to helps you connect with other people better, which is what I always say to the therapist. It's like, I want to connect to other people, and I want to like myself. I'm glad I found this therapist, because it's like, I go to the therapist and I'm like, I want to connect with people, and I want to like myself, and also I'm depressed. And this therapist and like other therapists sometimes are like, oh, depression, I know how to treat that. Let's do that one first. That's the easy one. I got a textbook for that. I don't have a textbook for making you like yourself, or I don't know. There's nothing in the textbook for that. So I don't know. Have you tried just like the affirmations or something? I don't know. They don't really know what to do. So yeah, last time when I did IFS, it was only for like maybe a month, and then I think I had to leave the therapy in New York. We were doing that like right at the end. I think I liked it. I don't know how it's going to help. The idea is that, from when I was looking it up, I don't know it super well, but like, you try to identify and personify pieces of you. And I know there's like an exactly right way to do this, like a specific, like, oh, there's the exile, and there's like specific archetypes that you're supposed to follow for. But I remember being like, well, I don't really like specificity like that. Like, everybody is different. Everybody's going to resonate with this IFS thing a little bit differently. And all that it matters is creating a narrative that helps me. So if the narrative that they've created about like the exile and the judger or the whatever doesn't resonate, then it's not going to help. So that's what I told the last therapist. Like, I like this, but we'll have to tweak it for it to be helpful to me. And I think any good therapist is like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if it's not helping, then it's not helping, right? So I remember we had talked about like, there's like a million ways to do it. But you want to personify like pieces of you, and then try to show each of them compassion, so that instead of like saying, oh, this part of me is bad and this part of me is good, you say all the parts of me are part of me. They're all me, and they're all neutral. They'll have a job. But sometimes parts of you come up that don't help you do like what you want to do in life, like connect to people. I don't know why it does that. A bloop. A bloop. A bloop. A bloop. A bloop. So last time I remember we did like one of the last sessions, he was like, try to think of someone in a movie or a TV show that like, and then personify yourself, because sometimes that's helpful to people when they can't think of something. So I was like, I thought a good archetype was like Quasimodo and Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, because there's a part of me that's Quasimodo that like is ashamed of who he is and thinks he's ugly and gross and weird and awkward and doesn't want to interact with anybody. And then there's the Frollo guy who's like he acts like a protector. He's like, Quasimodo, you gotta stay in this bell tower, like, because if you go out into the world, people are gonna throw rocks at you because you're so weird and ugly. I'm protecting you by keeping you locked in here. Like, you don't understand what the world is like out there. It's gonna kill you. You're not capable of living out there. You gotta stay in here. And I resonate with that, like, yeah, with me. Like, I'm too sensitive or I'm too weird to be outside. I can't survive out there. So there's a part of me that's Frollo telling me, like, stay in here. I'm protecting you. So I don't know. I don't know if that was going to be helpful. And then, like, you're supposed to be, when you're out in the world and you feel that person coming up inside of you, that Frollo who's like, when you want to interact with somebody, and then Frollo comes up and takes the driver's seat of yourself and is like, don't talk to that person because they're going to see how weird you are and they're going to reject you, and that's going to hurt. So don't do it. I'm protecting you. So yeah, the goal is to identify those pieces and then show compassion to them, and then just not let them drive when you don't want them to drive. So when you feel Frollo come up, you're like, thank you, Frollo, for helping me. Like, I understand your purpose is to try to make me not feel hurt, but right now what I need is to talk to this person. And maybe that does something. I don't know. It's worth a shot, right? I don't know. So yeah, I'll end just real quick with what we did in therapy this week. It was kind of cool. She was like, close your eyes and imagine like a boardroom or whatever of your different selves sitting there. Like, not characters, but like actually you. And there's like, what kind of versions of you do you see? And then I really liked kind of what she was doing. She's like, okay, I'm going to ask you what your goal is. And I'm like, okay, my goal is to genuinely connect with one person and like being with them and like doing something with other people, or even just like doing something at all. And she's like, okay, so we'll break that down into mini goals. So your first goal is like, you know that you like running. So what if your next mini goal is to just look into things to do with running or whatever that maybe involve other people, maybe don't, whatever. And she's like, pose that question to the board and see who comes up and talks, and who stays quiet and what happens. Like, so there's me, there's the self-actualized whatever, the me in the middle, and I pose the question to all the other me's. And I kind of like this idea. It's like, I don't know, because it's like narrativizes your brain and personifies, which I like, characters and stuff. So I did that, and eventually it was like I felt this really judgmental version of me that almost felt like the most important person in the room, who was kind of like this head of the board person who's like felt like he was in charge, and he was like, I think it's like judgmental self or something, but I don't really know, but he was like kind of shutting everybody down and being like, you know that this doesn't work. Like, I'm trying to protect, really, he's like, same thing as Frollo, was like, what you're gonna do is you're asking us like to go out and try to connect with people, but we've done this before, and guess what's happened? Like, you don't connect with people, you cry and you're worse off, and maybe you even commit suicide this time or something. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you are really sad right now, and you go out and try to connect with people and it doesn't work again, like, and you're 33 and you've never had connection. This is not good. I don't want you to die. Don't do this. I think that was helpful to explore. That's basically all we got to. And the therapist is like, I think that version of you is protecting the sad part of you, the depressed part, which is kind of like the Frollo and the Hunchback thing. And I guess I'm supposed to be like compassionate to that guy, but not let him drive. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the next step is, and how this actually helps me do stuff that I need to do. I don't know. But it felt like the best thing that I've done so far. I left therapy that time and I was like, usually I leave therapy and I'm like, I'm done. I don't know what to do. I'm cooked. But yeah, this time I left and I was like, well, that's something. So I doubt this video will get as many views as the last one, but if anybody watches, let me know. Hopefully this is helpful, and I think next time I'm gonna be sad during the week at some point. I mean, maybe I'll even do it tomorrow, like on Valentine's Day. I'm crying and I'm like, yeah, I'm alone. I actually, a long time ago, and then I'll end. Long story short, but a long time ago, I think like 5 years ago, I recorded a live, I did like a Twitch thing on my birthday. Because I'm like, I spend my birthdays alone every year. What if I recorded, and I think I played like Celeste or something on my birthday? I don't remember. And a couple people watched and I was like, it was probably the best birthday I've ever had. I mean, it's a low bar, but a couple people watched me play a video game, and I talked to them, and that was like, well, that's the first birthday I wasn't alone, so it was good. Okay, that's it. Smell you later. Bye. Do 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 do. I poop my pants. I poop my pants.